North are premiers for 1987, and they certainly deserve it. They've been the best side all season. They've been on top virtually right through the season. They won the second semi-final, and now they've taken out the grand final by 52 points, defeating Glenorchy, who were attempting to make it 3 premierships in a row. So congratulations to North Hobart, and are they excited? There were quite a few thought they wouldn't go on with it today, but Glenorchy's experience in grand finals might have found them out, but that wasn't to be.
It's the grand old flag, it's the high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you.
Have a go next
year. The team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue. As we sing this song for you, what do we say? To Lord, we let's pray for God. Keep your eye on the red and the blue. The hyphen, Mitten
And you can see Simon Mitten-Connell going up to receive his medallion, and a group of the happy North Hobart players out there. It's been a long time for them. Coach Gary Davidson and Captain Mark Devine receiving, or about to receive, the trophy. Bradley Plain and Gary Davidson receiving his medallion. We'll apologise for the noise a little later on, but well, it was a great scene there. Good afternoon and welcome to North Hobart's World of Sport. They've waited a long time for it. It's been 13 years in coming. Congratulations, fellas. Firstly, Mark Devine. Mark, it must have been a great feeling when that siren finally went.
Yeah, it was something you wait for. You know, that's why you play footy, and it was, yeah, it was worth waiting for.
Gary Davidson, it's been a big year for you, a big decision to take on North Hobart, who had been in the wilderness. You'd be happy with the decision you made?
Oh, obviously, Peter, and quite obviously, excuse me, it wouldn't have happened without the hard work that these guys sitting here put in.
Okay.
Roads against the person.
President Chris Boys is here too. Congratulations, Chris. I know you were confident right through the year that they'd take it out in '87.
Yes, we certainly were. Thanks, Pete. It's been a great year, and it's a credit to the fellows and Gary particularly for the work they've put in. And as you say, 13 years is a long time, but I don't think it'll be that long for the next one.
No, I'm sure it won't. And the two young children here with Gary are Thomas and Anna. Hello, Thomas.
Hello.
Thomas, did you go and barrack for... Who did you barrack for at the football yesterday? Oh, he's overcome. I tell you what, there were a lot of players there crying yesterday after that victory. OK, let's go to the panel now and have a look at some of the highlights out of yesterday's grand final. Firstly, Mel Arnold.
Well, Peter Sharp has a great habit of making mistakes, and yesterday we saw one of his classic mistakes. It involved Neil Noy in a great bit of play down the wing. We'll go to film now and see Neil Noy. Here he comes.
The bounce of the ball, and Neil Noy took the risk and played it on in front of him, grabs it and kicks a goal. No. I didn't see Curly.
Yeah, unfortunately, Roland Curley popped up out of the ground there, Peter, and you didn't quite see him. But still, we excuse you. We're getting used to those mistakes, aren't we, Rod, from week to week?
We are, Mel. In fact, there's a couple of supporters in the press box. Yes, I can tell you Peter Sharp and I think Mel Arnold were both very keen for North Hobart to win. But it's not all that unusual. We see an umpire get to go down in a football match, but it's not very often that we see the player involved come off second best. And here's what happened yesterday when Michael Webster goes down, when he runs into umpire Michael Kelly.
Christensen gets it
down
out
they go.
They go into the umpire, and down goes the umpire.
Michael Kelly gets up and keeps on going, but unfortunately Michael Webster still down on his hands and knees. We can see there on the bottom of the screen. So certainly Michael Webster came out second best in that one. But certainly everything was going North Hobart's way in the latter part of the game yesterday, Mel.
Well, we saw Bradley Plain involved there, and we'll see in the next incident here how things did go North's way yesterday. A kick going to the forward line from North Hobart, and we'll see Bradley Plain get the easiest goal he's kicked this year.
Over towards David Noble. Noble fires away down in towards goal. Webster trying to drop back on it. It's still in play. It'll be a goal. Unbelievable. Bradley Plain. Well, I'm lost for words. Webster, instead he's saying, what do I have to do? He did everything right, but has given away a goal. Bradley's right.
Well, they don't come much easier than that one, Rod.
No.
Straight back. There we are.
Bradley playing always in the right place at the right time. Our next highlight is probably a little bit R-rated, so anyone under 18 had better close their eyes at home for this one, because it features where Mark Devine suddenly loses his shorts, and the question is just where did his shorts go to? We'll have a look at it on our screens now. We can see there the ball is marked. Players have a little bit of a jostle there. That's Mark Devine with his, well, that's him there trying to get his shorts pulled off.
The Pumpers have only flared in this final quarter.
And there it is. The question is, where are those shorts?
They'd be too worried about fighting. They've got the game on, and Mark Devine, he's lost his trousers. No wonder he's not very happy. He's a very modest sort of fellow, and he's got him back now.
Like the magician pulling the rabbit out of his hat. But we'll be back with more from yesterday's grand final in just a moment.
Okay, welcome back. And North Hobart Premiers for 1987 will be joining us for a smorgasbord luncheon here today in the studio. And as you can see, it's a beautiful smorgasbord that's been put on by... Okay, you can see that there's quite a few North Hobart players look like they've signed up for the Northgate Magpies next year. I don't know whether that's a healthy sign or not. Dave-O, you might be a great football coach, but as far as a choir master goes, I would never apply for a job after that singing.
No, don't intend to.
I did mention the smorgasbord. We would like to thank Four Seasons, Greg Eastley, the Assistant Operations Manager, Michael Cairns, the Executive Chef from Downtowner, and Kevin Webb, the Sales Manager from Blue Ribbon Universal. And Kevin's been a great sponsor right through the season. But thanks very much there to Four Seasons and to Blue Ribbon Universal for putting on that smorgasbord. I know the players were enjoying it. Well, there was a lot of colour build up to the grand final yesterday, and players here, you probably wouldn't have seen it because you were busy getting ready for the game, and you were certainly in preparing again at half-time. So let's have a look at now to some of the build-up that entertained the 17,100-odd crowd that were there. And as you can see, as I mentioned, a lot of colour, a lot of signs around, and the stands were packed. Well, there'd be a little Glenorchy girl, probably not all that happy this morning. Have a look at that for the crowd. That gives you an idea. And 17,145 people jamming into North Hobart, taking every advantage point. Up on top of the kiosks, they were around the fence with their colours, just wherever they could get to get a view. And as you can see, a part of the North Hobart stronghold there. And some even enjoyed a barbecue outside the ground. They didn't even have to pay to get in, so they would have swelled the audience by a few more. Now, this was the start of the Cascade Derby. The Cascade Derby, and it was South Launceston in the horse, Mark Seiss and Darren Trevena. The jockey is Sue Cullen, and they got off to a handy lead as they went past the Ryde Street stand. In second place is Sandy Bay. The horse made up of Stephen Spalding, Gary Williams, Jody Pritchard as the jockey. Over the first obstacle, and they step over it pretty easily. And Sandy Bay closing the gap slightly now on South Launceston as they'll come round to the neck. Oh, there's a fall. There's a fall there, Jody Pritchard, but she's back up quickly. Jody Pritchard back up on a horse quickly. And this is South Launceston now making their way round to the next obstacle. Watch them go through the tyres. They're all feet, but they're through. With Sandy Bay again closing the gap. And they'll come up to the water obstacle. Oh, here's two horses trying, I don't know what they're trying to do there. They're a bit friendly. They'd get an awful shock. But that's the Hobart horse. Now we're going down towards the finishing line, and you'll see that South Launceston with Mark Seiss, Darren Trevena, the jockey Sue Cullen, falling over the line, and Sandy Bay finishing in second place, and that Hobart horse still causing a bit of trouble there, and there were some tired horses. And the whip will come out now on, I think, the Burney horse, and they're hanging on for dear life. But that was the race, the Cascade Derby, and this is the sprint. The sprint, and it's Michael Gaffney of New Norfolk in front of David Leary of Burney Hawks and Andrew Cullis of Sandy Bay, and that's the way they'll finish down to the line. It's Gaffney of New Norfolk winning comfortably from Leary of Burney Hawks, and Andrew Cullis of Sandy Bay finishing back in third place. Well, that was just a part of the entertainment. There was a lot of entertainment that was supplied all day. Unfortunately, we can't bring it all to you. Well, we said it was 13 years that North Hobart had to wait to win another grand final. Their last was back in 1974. This year, 87, the team was captained by Mark Devine. Back in 74, it was coached by John Devine. Let's have a look at some of the highlights now from that 74 grand final.
In the way for Sandy Bay. There's a little bit of a joust on there with Stiles and Dwyer up towards Wilkinson. Wilkinson over towards Ricketts. Ricketts the hand pass to Olsen. The Bay not giving up, but I'm afraid their effort is in vain as Manson, the flash bit of play, and there's the fire. That's the end of the grand final with North Hobart 21-10, 136 to Sandy Bay 15-18, 108.
Their last 8 or 9 games running into this grand final have been superlative, and I think it's all due to John Devine's coaching. There can be no other answer whatsoever.
Harry, this also reminds me of the 1967 grand final when North beat Glenorchy.
Right, well, as you can see now, have a look. The young fella on the left there, just behind the player in 6, is actually Mark Devine. He'd be about 8 or 9 years of age. He was up there. There's a big difference now in looks, I can tell you. But that's on the left there, not the fella, little boy closest to John, but the next one along near player number 6. That's Mark Devine, up with his father when he received the trophy. Now, we'll have a look back at some of the stars of that game. Number 10 is Mel Arnold. Gets the ball out, and have a look at the shorts. Yeah. This is Mel Arnold lining up for goal number 5. He's a straight kick, and he's put it through. 5 goals to Mel Arnold in the 74 Premiership. And on the panel next year, he tried to give himself mark of the day, goal of the day, and man of the match. He wanted to claim the lot. OK, that was 74. We're into 87. Let's go to the panel now, have a look as to why North won it, how Glenorchy lost it, and Rod Hughes, maybe you'll get the panel to give a quick comment as to how they thought it did go.
Yes, but I think there's no doubt who won. We can soon work that out from our little reception this morning. But I think perhaps the reason they won it is the fact that they outran Glenorchy. And that's perhaps a little bit unusual, because that's the sort of a game that Glenorchy have always specialised in, the running, play-on game, moving the ball quickly. But yesterday I thought they were completely outplayed in this area by the North Hobart camp. Another prime reason, I thought they had more avenues to goal. We had Bradley Plain, Peter Hardman, also Steve McQueen, all dangerous up forward, and whereas Glenorchy only had David Pearce, the really only forward who was capable of kicking a lot of goals. But I thought they were the main reasons. Jim Manson, what did you feel?
Yes, North's fierce tackling, of course, mustn't be overlooked. But if we're to look for a turning point in the game, I thought it came when Davidson threw Ross Christensen onto the ball. Tony Klein and Stephen Shade were having a pretty even battle in the ruck, but North, I think, would have liked to have got the ball away from the centre more than they did, and when Christensen was thrown onto the ball, it all seemed to happen at once.
Mel?
Well, there was a lot of theories about whether you're best to have a rest through the preliminary finals and so on, but I think it proves yesterday that North finished full of running. Glenorchy, especially the older players, just ran out of legs as after half-time, and the hard games they've had certainly took toll on them, and they just couldn't run with North, and it was a matter of North just careering away with it.
And another guest panellist, our fearless friend here, Steve Randall.
Thanks, Rod. Yes, well, I thought North Hobart, apart from the second semi when they kicked away early, this time they had to do it the hard way, coming from 3 goals down at quarter time. And I think with 3 forwards firing all at once, Glenorchy didn't get a look in, and I think their win basically was typified by the spirit of a fellow West Coaster, Jim Mathewson, and I think Davo could and did use that during the final series, and I think Matho typified the spirit in the North camp.
Rod, I think David Stockdale's coming in later in the program, and we mustn't overlook we mustn't overlook David's influence on the game when he selected Glenorchy to win.
Now, Stocker's record is not too good, is it, Jim?
By the way, did you know Peter Sharp tipped Glenorchy?
Is that a fact?
He's denying it, but he did tip Glenorchy.
He's come out of the woodwork now and is on their side. But looking at the game as we, quarter by quarter, we see that in fact North Hobart started off behind at quarter time where they were 3 goals down. We can see it was the second quarter where North Hobart really piled on the goals, kicking 11 goals to Glenorchy's 5. And again in the third quarter, especially the first half of the third quarter, they kicked right away and finished off winning. We can see there 23 goals, 20, 158. Comfortable 52-point winners over Glenorchy, 16-10, 106. But the first quarter, I thought Glenorchy, in fact, had the better start, as we often expect, or we always expect in a final. The pressure is really on. This was certainly the case yesterday, and I thought Glenorchy were applying the pressure a little bit more in this first quarter, and in fact got a good break. They had David Pearce, a focal point up forward, kicked 4 goals, where in the early part of the game he had by far the better of Simon Minton-Connell. They had Ling and Fletcher very busy around the packs, and also Andy Lovell was displaying his great skills, and the Glenorchy backline on top early, I thought. But we'll have a look at some film now showing the good start by Glenorchy.
Very big crowd here at North Hobart. Here's the chance for North to clear it down, looking for Christensen. It comes down to Ling. Oh, bang, a high tackle on Linton. Linton gives it straight back to Ling. Ling drives up to Pearce. He's got it. Pearce kicks. That's not a bad shot. Good kick, David Pearce. He was sure of that one. Darren Davies runs through the centre with the ball, drives it down. He was down looking for Devine, but chipping it is Collis. Collis nicely up towards Ling. Danny Lingen is around Gurley. Ling looks up in towards an open goal. He fires away, and the Magpie hero puts Glenorchy second goal on the board. Moves in, kicks. It is swinging back around the pack fly. Grace. He slips, he's up, he's grabbed, he's lost it. Gives it over to Pearce, and Pearce goal. That's David Pearce's third.
Well,
Sorry, Bill.
Well, you can see there that Glenorchy really, with the early quarter, had plenty of run in their legs, and they matched it with North. But in the second quarter, North took control, and I thought it was through their forwards, we've already said, Bradley Plain, Steve McQueen, Peter Hardman up forward, led very well and marked very strongly. Darren Davies gave great drive off the wing, and all North finally started to run and get their game that we know they can play running. And I must mention David Gooley at centre-half back. What a superb game he played back there, and every time Glenorchy did get the ball forward, David Gooley was there to repel them. And we've already mentioned Ross Christensen into the ruck made a tremendous difference when he got a few big hit-outs. And we'll go to film now and see North at their very best.
College back to Sutton. Sutton now delivers that one along the ground up towards Bradley Plain. He got the bounce. Webster, he's broken Webster's tackle, has a bounce. Easy as you like Bradley Plain. Look at him go. Nearly travelling in basketball terms. Up towards Hardman. Off hands it comes McQueen. McQueen snapped his second goal. Now the chance for Glenorchy is it's driven down by Styles into the centre. Here comes Gurley through. And Gurley does it well. Bangs it long. Up they go. McQueen up behind. Plain off the back. Plain in towards goal. He's kicked it and scores a level. O'Reilly nearly edged his opponent out of it. Bradley Plain. But Curley will get it out of trouble. Waiting there is Perry. Moving in with him is Lovell. Perry has it. Perry snaps it up in towards the forward zone again. McQueen, the dangerous McQueen, fires away in towards goal. And Steve McQueen brings up his fourth goal. Coming out with it is McQueen. He went underground to Bradley Plain. Plain has a look. Now he bangs it up in towards Christensen. They fly. No mark, but coming out with it now is Darren Davies. Snaps in towards goal. He's kicked it. Darren Davies puts North 1 point in front. Elmer comes out with the crumbs. Elmer now kicks it along the ground, but luckily finds Maple. Maple with a long hand pass over to Devine. Back it comes over towards Maple, and they're running the Demons now. And Maple drives it up in towards full forward. Hardman! 13 points up. Moves in. Kicks. That looks good, yeah. Hardman's kicked his third. Now they get it over to Minton-Connell. Minton-Connell's had a bounce. He'll drive it up to Christensen. Christensen marks. Christensen from the half-back flank. Gives it over to Moore. Moore looks to go back to Christensen and does. Now Christensen will drive it up on towards half forward. It's all North up there. And Hardman will come out to take the mark. Kicks. That could be his fifth. It is 5 goals already to Peter Hardman.
Well, we saw there North Hobart's running game at its best with its very dangerous forwards. Peter Harbin kicking 4 and also Steve McQueen 4, and Bradley playing his very elusive self around the packs. And with an 11-goal second quarter, North Hobart had a 19-point lead at the big break at half-time, and one would expect for Glenorchy to get back in the game, they really had to start the third quarter with a couple of quick goals. But that wasn't to be, as in fact it was North Hobart who kicked the first 4 goals in the 12 minutes of that third quarter, and that's where they really had the game by the throat. We'll have a look now at the third quarter with North Hobart really driving it home.
Kicks down in towards Hardman. Out of his hands it's spilt. McQueen has it though. McQueen snaps. He's put it through. So now Bush drives it down. Davies, he'll play on. Davies now puts it down in towards goal, and the mark taken down there by Hardman. Lines them up, moves in, kicks. It's good. Yes, 6 goals to Peter Hardman. They set themselves, and out of the centre, Davies. Elmer fighting for it. Elmer has it. No, it's given over to Neil Noy. Noy will now drive it down in towards centre half forward. Out comes Harlow over towards David Noble. Noble fires away down in towards goal. Webster trying to drop back on it. It's still in play. It'll be a goal, because you would not believe it. Unbelievable. Bradley playing. Well, I'm lost for words. He drives it down. Looking for Noble. That's Michael Noble. Kerry Moore in to help out. Gives it to Perry. Perry over to Davies. Davies has a look, has Noble inside, but breaks away and now kicks down towards Hardman. Hardman marks. Moves in. Oh, he's kicked into the man on the mark. Play on the call now. He's going through as Perry. Perry snaps it down in towards goal. He's kicked it. Queen gets it down. Up it comes to where McConnell will drive the Demons into attack. Down to Perry. Collis up to Spoil. Out comes Webster. Webster can't pick it up. Christensen coming in through nicely is Bradley Plain. Plain will snap it down in towards goal. He's kicked another one, Bradley Plain. That's his third. Klein in. Klein grabbed, couldn't get his kick in. Noy in to help out. Gives it over to Sutton. He'll be in trouble. But gets his kick in, Sutton. Down on towards half forward. Collis trying to push it down. Coming through is Christensen. Over to Harbin. Easy as you like. It is raining goals at North Hobart for the Demons, and Perry puts through another one.
Well, they were some of the highlights from the 87 grand final. We're going to go into the rooms now straight after the match and talk to some of the players and have a look when we present Maury Oborne's Tas Trophy House presentation. That's for the player judged best player in the grand final. Just have a look at the advertising in the background. Let's go into the rooms now with Mel Arnold and Rod Hughes.
Well done, Steve McQueen. You must be really impressed with that flag.
Oh, yeah, it hasn't really sunk in at the moment. I suppose it will tomorrow sometime. But tonight's going to be a good night. Yeah, it was really great.
And you chose to turn it on at the very best possible time yourself, personally.
Yeah, Dave asked us for an extra effort from the 4 key forwards, permanent forwards. So we tried to give it to him, so everything worked out all right, yeah.
Big night ahead tonight.
Yeah, big few days, I reckon.
Well done.
Thanks.
Rodney Bush. Rodney, you'd be really thrilled with that win.
Oh, it's hard to explain. It's just so good. Look at all the people, everyone here. It's just unreal.
First premiership you played in?
Seniors it is. In club footy, I played in a few school ones, but that's nothing compared to this.
And tremendous atmosphere there today.
Oh yeah, we had it right from right from all through the week. Everyone was just looking for one thing, and that was today.
Well done.
Thanks.
Bradley, a great win. You said 2 weeks ago after the second semi you were very confident that you'd pull it off. Did you expect to win by that margin?
Well, it was all up to whether... I think the only time Glenorchy was ever going to win is if we let them win. But, we attacked the ball all day and we persevered, and we sort of broke their spirit in the second quarter, I think, and went on with it from there.
It was a real team effort. You had no passengers at all.
No, it was a great team effort. The whole 20 players, everybody contributed, and there was no weak links in the side at all.
And I suppose you have a very quiet night tonight, Brad.
Yeah, I'm a little bit tired myself. Actually, I was asleep for a couple of days, I think.
Congratulations, mate, and really enjoy it.
Yeah,
great. Jim, it's been a long battle to get that flag. You've been travelling around from the West Coast a long time now.
Yeah, I quite enjoy playing football. It's been 8 years, and it's been a real real struggle this year, but I think it's been worth it, especially it hasn't actually hit home yet, but I think once it does, it'll make the trip all the trips worth it.
It was a battle for you to get back after the knee injury, but it's well worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, about 6 weeks ago, I was just going to chuck it in and forget all about it. But I made the decision to come down, and work was good enough to allow me the 2 months down here to get physio and proper treatment, and I ended up getting back. And Davo was good to me. He said, you know, if you do the right thing, do the hard work, there'll be a place there for me. It's great.
The boys in Queenstown will treat you as a hero next week.
Oh, I don't know. I won't be going back for a couple more weeks yet, so I don't know.
Going to celebrate long and hard?
Oh, I think so. Everybody else will be, so I'll be joining in with it.
Well done, Jim.
Thanks very much, Mel.
Well, Mark, a great win by the side, and you must be especially proud as being the captain.
Oh, yes, but, it's one of those things. It's a team, of course, but it is a bit of a buzz being the captain, yeah.
And as you say, it was a team and everyone put in.
Yeah, I think that was the best part of the win for us, that there wasn't a passenger and that we could keep to put the pressure on, perhaps like we had to. It needed everyone to do it, and I think that happened.
And looking at the future, it would appear that North Hobart should be a strong side for some years to come.
Yeah, I hope so. I think we've got a couple of very talented young players who will probably go and try their luck on the mainland, but we've got some good backup in the under-19s and the reserves. And just have to get out in the district and get a couple more. You can't afford to relax now. You just got to try and build a game for next year.
Congratulations on the win and have a good night.
Thanks, Rod.
The Taz Trophy House today, Rod Hughes and myself unanimously agreed, David Gooley.
It's been a good year by everyone. We put in hard on the track, and it's paid off. We've done it.
Okay, congratulations to David Gooley. And I did mention to just watch the advertising in the background while that was being presented. It was said something like, see Mark Devine for real estate. Mark, our sales department have just been on to me, and they've asked me to present you with this account. It's for a minute 30 advertising. It works out at a couple of $100.
Let's make it into 2 minutes.
Okay, well, the fellas are certainly enjoying the smorgasbord as it's being handed around at the moment. And for that smorgasbord, we do thank Four Seasons, Greg Eastley, the Assistant Operations Manager, Michael Cairns, the Executive Chef from Downtowner, and Kevin Webb, the Sales Manager of Blue Ribbon Universal. Just before we do go into commercial break, Tony Klein. Oh, Tony, you've just about finished the meal there. I thought it'd take you a little longer to get through it when I saw the plate. What about just giving us a look at the bruise that you copped? Just stand up. Come on. Come on. Tell us the bruise. Come on, quick. Have a look at that. It's not all fun, is it? And Darren Davies down in front, you can see, he's pretty cut about the face there too. So you certainly copped them to win a grand final. You're watching our grand final World of Sport. It's North Hobart's Day. And we'll be back with more in just a moment. Successful, a lot would say, well, you're going to go on now with the nucleus of a side like this and win a lot of premierships, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more work put in. You're going to have to recruit a few players for 1988. Will you lose a few players from 1987?
Well, it's possible, Peter. I'd say Simon and Bradley would look at seeing how they would go in Melbourne. We wish them the best of luck. We'd never stand in their way in going. Perhaps after Steve's performance yesterday, he may have to consider
That's
going.
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. What some of our Launceston players want to do with their career and their future life with the club remains to be seen. We'll look at that later on the year.
Well, I believe South Launceston may try and talk a few into going back.
Yes, I wonder if we can find them for doing something like that. No, I really don't know. It's too early to say. Obviously, in the next week or so, we need to look at what is staying and what, in fact, is going to go out of the club.
How long do they get off now, and when will you start training again?
Oh, next Christmas. Really don't know, Peter. I would say we probably need to look at some specialised training programs starting in late October, early November. And then Peter Harbin will definitely be starting in October. But no, it's too early to say. We need to sit back and just have a look at what has been done and what in fact we need to do to make the club a little stronger for next year.
Okay. Right, well, it looks, fellas, you've got a lot of hard work coming up. I don't think I'd swap places with you. Well, after the game, Glenorchy coach Danny Ling was one of the first to go into the North Hobart rooms and congratulate them on their victory. Let's have a look at it.
Congratulations, fellas. Fantastic effort. You know, the way you've played was a credit not only to yourself but to Gary. And all I can say is well done. You know, far too good on the day for us. And you know, we've got to go back to the drawing board now and try and come up with a team to be competitive with us next year. But well done today. Fantastic.
Danny Ling there going into the rooms, and congratulations to Danny on his effort over the 3 years coaching Glenorchy and to the Glenorchy side, because they helped provide us with a great grand final. You're watching World of Sport. We're going to be back with more in just a moment.
Who put the whoosh in spaghetti? I did. Who put the push in spaghetti? I did. Who put the dash in? Who put the clash in? Who put the splash in spaghetti? I did.
When kids need the stamina to keep going, serve them delicious Heinz spaghetti in real tomato sauce. For sustained energy, it's hard to beat.
Who put the win in? Who put the energy in? Who put the fun in spaghetti? I did.
Get away for the day and enjoy the delights of the Huon Valley. Relive the days that made the Huon famous at the Apple Industry Museum. Select from the finest fresh fruit and vegetables, plus homemade jams at Roscoe's Country Market. Marvel at the wonders of a bygone era at the Tasman Antique Motor Museum. And complete your day with a superb meal at the famous bistro restaurant on the banks of the river. Let Huonville and the Huon Valley make your day.
My dear, whatever's got into the vicar?
They see he's found the answer.
Miss Bracegirdle's in a surprisingly good mood.
Thank goodness she finally found the answer.
Alfie must have won the lottery.
Nah, reckons he just found the answer.
That's not like Prim Whistle.
It is since she discovered the answer.
Ford Pills, the gentle, reliable answer to irregularity for over 50 years. Real easy to take, low in calories.
In the never-ending bustle of our busy lives, there's nothing quite so satisfying as the flavour, goodness and sheer enjoyment of a piping hot national pasty, judged to be the best.
The footy finals heat up with the first semi-final, the Sydney Swans versus the Demons. Watch the Feathers Fly today at 2:30 and live on Tas TV.
Welcome back to our grand final World of Sport. North Hobart's day, of course, in the studio today. Well, I don't think there's any need for me to tell you that North are a very close-knit club, and some of the things that they do, well, probably other clubs could follow suit. And the two fellas sitting here on my right, Steve McQueen and Bradley Plain, you had a young fella, I think, saved up his money, his pocket money. I think was it his money that...
his newspaper money.
Newspaper money. Yeah. And he bought a trophy. Was it a trophy or trophies or
trophies,
what?
One each, yeah.
One each, and presented them to you. And the young fella's down here in front of me. Jason, is it?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to save all that money to buy the trophy, Jason?
Not long.
Not long?
No.
Delivering papers?
Yeah.
You must be a pretty good paper boy.
Yeah.
Now, why, Steve and Bradley, are they your favourite players, are they?
Yeah.
Gee, I'll tell you what, you've got another 18 players upset here. They all want one next year, so you're going to have to deliver a few more Mercuries, Examiners, Heralds, go round a lot.
Yeah.
Good on you, Jason. That's nice to see. OK, after the game, Rod Hughes spoke with losing coach Danny Ling.
Well, Danny, commiserations on the loss, but presumably you'll agree the better side won on the day?
Yeah, no doubt about that, Rod. They, you know, they were fully committed and they ran and put their bodies in, and, you know, they followed the instructions of their coach very well, and they fully deserved the premiership.
You said they ran. Do you think that was the key to the game, the fact that they did outrun you fellas?
Yeah, no doubt about that, Rod. After half-time, or, you know, probably midway through the second quarter, they really started to get their running game together, and our blokes had a bit of trouble keeping up with them.
So as you say, when they had that running game going, their tails up, really what can you do to stop them?
Oh, well, you know, if you can't keep up, you know, there's not a lot you can do, because they used the ball very well. Their key forwards played well, Hardman and Christensen, and, you know, they had McQueen around there that can kick them from anywhere, and Plain was very dangerous early as well. You know, so they had a few avenues to goal, and they used the ball very well.
And from your point of view, of course, Glenorchy again primarily only had David Pearce to kick the goals.
Yeah, well, that's right. We struggled a bit up forward, and you know, maybe if we could have won enough of the ball and delivered it to Piercy the way we were early, you know, he may have been able to kick us a winning score, because it appeared to me he was in that type of frame of mind that he was going to play a big one. And but you know, we were let down, you know, with our runners and on-ball players, and across the centre line a bit. You know, they completely annihilated us in those areas, and we just didn't get the ball down to Piercy enough to give him a chance.
Obviously, John Klug being tagged so well makes a big difference to the side.
Yeah, that's right. You know, John had a quiet day, but, you know, I don't think he realistically was fully fit, you know, so maybe that's a bit of a reason, but, you know, full credit to Maple. He did a tremendous job on him.
I guess that's a risk you take going into a final without 100% fit players is somewhat of a risk.
Yeah, that's right. You know, we had to try and pick our best side, and we had 2 or 3 players that, you know, they had needles before the game, but you expect that playing the grand final. They've got a long time to get over it, and, you know, that's a risk you take.
And looking to next year, you said before they're going to be your last game as a coach, so you still feel the same way?
Yes.
And what about as a player?
Well, I'd say, you know, that's probably my last game as well. You know, it's getting harder every year, so you've got to...
Possibly there could be a few other players in the similar situation, like Roland Curley and so forth?
Yes, I think, not so sure about Rowley. You know, he might front up again, but you know, I think Gary Linton's definitely going to retire, and you know, the club's going to lose a few players to Melbourne. I'm pretty sure that Andy Lovell's going across to Melbourne. Matthew Mansfield will probably go back to Footscray. David Pearce could well be going across, but from the sounds of things, you know, and there's a couple of clubs looking closely at Fletcher. So, you know, the club's really got to be careful now that they go out and recruit a couple of players to help the players that are there at present, and really do a lot of work with the juniors coming up to make sure that they can remain a strength.
So perhaps we could see 2 or 3 seasons of Glenorchy in a team-building situation rather than being up on top as they have been for so long.
I wouldn't say that, Rod. I think back to when I took over as coach, you know, a lot of people said that that's what we were going to do that year, and you know, we picked up the players we needed that year to be a good side, and we ended up winning the flag. And you know, I really believe that next year again you'll see Glenorchy up there with the best of them.
Again, Danny, commiserations on the loss. Congratulations to yourself for your efforts from the Glenorchy's point of view, and also from your contribution to TFL football.
Thanks, Rob.
On World of Sport, it's time for What's Your Verdict? Brought to you by Retrovision.
Mowing's a summer breeze with the all-new powerful Victor mowers from Retrovision. The Victor Utility, tough enough for the most rugged conditions. Victor Commando, sophisticated, economical with proven Victor features. Victor Bronco, the tough mower with the no-clog chute. Super quiet Victor Mustang for cleaner cutting. Victor Mustang 20 with the powerful V40 engine pack. Victor Mustang, the super-power, self-propelled, high-performance mower. Turn grass into lawn with Victor from $389 at your nearest Retrovision retailer now. Victor, Australia's #1 mower.
Okay, what's your verdict? This is where we talk to the umpires. The umpires yesterday were Gary Dawson and Michael Kelly. Fellas, what did you think of them? Pretty good. Okay. Firstly, Michael, thanks for joining us again in World of Sport, and congratulations to both you and Gary, Smokey, for getting the grand final yesterday, and you did deserve it too.
Thanks very much.
How was it? How did it feel out there in front of 17,145 people?
Fantastic, Peter. Brilliant.
Great feeling.
Now, when you come off, do you analyse a grand final, talk about how you think you've gone, and how did you think you went? Were you happy with your performance?
Well, we were pretty pleased.
Right.
The analysing might come a bit later at A. Green's place at the barbecue, but...
That's Rodney Bush. That's Rodney Bush. I'm sure he learned a bit of that off his father, Terry. Okay, fellas, I think we've got 3 incidents to have a look at. Michael, would you like to show us the first?
Yes, well, the first one involves Simon Minton-Connell and David Pearce, and despite the overwhelming odds, I'm still going to say it's a free kick to David Pearce, and that's the way I played.
Well, I don't know about that. Minton-Connell placed himself in front. He did everything right, but it turned out he's done something wrong.
Well, I don't think Minton-Connell agrees with you on this one, Michael and Smokey. What do you think, Smokey?
Peter, I think there's certainly a free kick there. Simon's leant back and
Okay, we might see what the panel think. Mel Arnold.
I was very technical.
Rod Hughes.
Yeah, it was technical, Peter, but certainly the free kick was there. He did have the hand over the shoulder. So I'll go along with the umpire.
Because you could start a riot here. I'd start agreeing with the players, I think. Okay. One of the men most respected in giving decisions on umpires, Jim Manson.
Tough on Simon Minton-Connell. It was a good decision for North Hobart, however, as Kluge took possession, would have kicked the goal. The resultant free kick went back to David Pearce and he missed.
Okay. Righto, Smokey, I think you've got the second one for us to have a look at.
Yeah, I've got the second one, Peter. I think with the guys here now, I might change my mind and put Kell in. You see John Kluge get possession of the ball shortly, about now, and question is whether or not he had a chance, whether he had a chance to get rid of it. And it's one of those decisions that are very close. I think Kell's probably done the right thing there. He didn't have a lot of chance to get rid of it, and he's had a bounce.
Now, has he gone into the pack? We've got to have a look. What do you think, Mel?
Well, Kluge's noted for his sleight of hand. But the one thing I must say is the umpires are very consistent on that. There was another incident almost identical to that, which, if North Hobart remember, went exactly the same when one of their men were pinned. So I thought it was consistent umpiring. Kluge really didn't have a great deal of time to get rid of it.
Okay, Rod Hughes.
Yes, Peter, I think that umpires tend to be a little bit hard on players who are trying to make the play and going in for the hard ball, so I think that was a fair decision.
Jim.
Holding the ball, John Kluge.
Oh, Jim, you'll get on side with all those players. And, Kel, was that your decision?
I'm a bit unfortunate today, Peter. They're all mine.
They're all yours.
That's a conspiracy.
Smokey got out here at 8 o'clock just before we picked them out and helped pick them out, so maybe that might be the reason. Okay, have you got the third one for us, Kel?
Yes, third one involves Steve McQueen and Greg Collis, I think it is.
Collis comes out.
At the time, the Glenorchy people were looking for a trip, but I didn't see it that way. In fact, I thought they both, I thought Greg Collis fell over his own feet. In slow motion, there may have been a slight trip there.
Have a look now. Is he taking him away from the ball? Look at that. We'll see what the panel think of that. We know what the players think of it. They thought it was play on. What do you think, Mel?
Yeah, I think it was play on, Peter.
Play on? What do you think, Rod?
There might have been some interference there, Peter, but not enough to warrant a free kick. I think play on's a fair decision.
Jim?
A free kick to Glenorchy.
Gee, Jim, you've won one, and I think you've lost one. I think the gunfire's meant for you, Jim. Okay, well, fellas, thanks for joining us, not only today, but right through the season, and to all the umpires. You've been prepared to come out and face the music.
Thanks,
That's
Peter.
what it's been, and you've got the kudos too. But,
Say that again.
Pete, we're just, on behalf of all the umpires that have been during the year, we'd like to thank you fellas who've been marvellous, the sponsors and TVT6 for their support. We like coming in, it's great.
Thanks, fellas, and look forward to you coming back next year. And Colin's got something for you.
Yeah, as usual, boys, we've got the country kitchen products, the small goods compliments of Universal, Ladino's Pizza, the national pies, I know you enjoy those, Logie, and the Kel, the chicken
Yeah, well, Colin, who's putting that out as a money raiser?
It's good stuff, actually. The Lions Club of Tasmania.
The Lions Club of Tasmania, it's called.
How would you know it's good stuff, Colin? You do no gardening at all.
He speaks it.
At any rate, keep your eye open with that. The Lions Club will be selling it over the next few months. I suppose it'll last that long, will it? At any rate, for as long as it lasts. Our umpires yesterday, Gary Dawson and Michael Kelly. We'll be back with more in just a moment.